Yeah, that's off the dome. Off the dome. Yeah. I never let nobody with no motion try to hold me. I'm an OG, and that's the old me. The way I'm sitting nowadays, I'm money stacked 9 ways. I'm sipping on a latte. Why they all call me bougie? I don't want no prayers from no haters. Probably waiting on my downfall. Mad that we made it in my wins on time. Why you trying to delay it? And they say it's authentic, but they wins look plated. They fake though, and I need all my cheese. Queso, provolone, and get all of my dogs out the trap like Home Alone. And Creed said I'm locked in. I really got no options. Standing on business, I need mines off the top then. Let them go ahead and count us all out. We just running up the numbers, watch us hit another level. Hey, can't hold me back. Put the city on the map, boy, how you love that? Boy, they thought that I was playing, but I hit another level. About to hit another level, had to hit another level. Hey, hit another level. Finna hit another level, gotta hit another level. Hit another level. About to hit another level, had to hit another level. Hey, hit another level. Finna hit another level. Hey, hit another level. Hit another level. Hit another half meal, mixing bass and treble. Locking up the game like a Rico when it's federal. Locked on my target, it's a rap if I aim at you. You rather me pray with you. Hood, please pay attention like hood. Focus on your mission like you should. If you had some vision, then you could, but you don't, so you won't. And you chasing that life, that's good, brother. Hold up, I need mine, please. You can't hold me. I'ma go ahead and hit another level. Go ahead and count us all out. We just running up the numbers, watch us hit another level. Hey, can't hold me back. Put the city on the map, boy. How you love that? Boy, they thought that I was playing, but I hit another level. About to hit another level, had to hit another level. Hey, hit another level. Finna hit another level, gotta hit another level. Hit another level. About to hit another level, had to hit another.
Welcome to the Jared Briggs Show. Today is Wednesday, hump day, and we are coming live again today. I hope you guys are having a great day. It is another episode where we're going to go live. We're going to talk about a few different things, and I'm going to go completely off script today. Because why not? Maybe it's good, maybe it's bad, maybe. But I hope you guys are having a great day. I hope you're having a great week. Hopefully, this last week of January, I don't know about any of you, but it's a little bit wild. Over the weekend, I was like, holy crap, this is the last week of January coming up. And we're into February 2026, down to 11 months left in the year. Goes by super quick every single day. So I got a few things that I've written down right here. I did the same thing again today. Took some time, got out the good old paper journal, wrote some things, thought some things, and my mind has been heavy today. My heart has been heavy. My thoughts have been heavy. And I literally spent like 30 minutes in my office thinking about today. I was thinking about it on the way to the office today, driving, and I've been like, gosh, what should I talk about? Judgment is a real thing, ladies and gentlemen, and it holds all of us back. I literally think about, what are people going to think and say if I create this show, if I go live, if I post this on social media, and we can look at that as a positive or a negative, but it's a real thing that we deal with. And I honestly wish it wasn't. So, but I'm going to share some things and talk about some things, okay? I was actually having a conversation on the way to the office today. A friend of mine gave me a call, and we were talking about health and things. And I shared with him that I did a blood test from a company called 10X Health. You guys should look it up. It's a cool company. Gary Brecka, I really like what he talks about on social media, and I think there's a big buzz in the United States about health, doctors and what's truth, what's not, prescriptions, all these different things. And I've been one. I don't have a primary care doctor. I don't go to the doctor a lot. Now, I'm not giving medical advice. That's just been my I haven't had a lot of medical stuff come up. I've gotten really lucky that way. Now, dental's another story. But I do want to know and understand from a full perspective, am I optimizing my health the best way that I can? And so I went through this company called 10X Health. They drew blood. They give you this whole panel of everything about your health. And it was very educational and informative. There were things I wish were different. And you know, I wish I did have somebody that could be like, hey, you know, every 3 months they look at my blood or whatever. And so I've looked for those kind of things. Well, I shared this with a friend because he was thinking about his health, and maybe he should do the 10X health thing. So we got talking about that. And it really made me take a step back, because I sit on this show all the time and give financial advice from the perspective of, like, we need to know what is going on with our finances. And I get it from a perspective. There's a lot of people out there that you probably have no interest in learning about money or studying money. Like, you don't get excited to learn how a life insurance policy works. You don't get excited to study a 401k or read a financial book or study the market or learn about crypto or real estate investing or whatever. You like the idea of somebody saying, hey, if you want to accomplish these goals, do this, this, and this, and you'll be there. And so I was thinking about that with this medical knowledge. I don't like studying those things hardly at all. And that was one thing that with this program that I went through, they email you all this document, and I'm like, I don't freaking want to read all this. I really don't. I don't want to study it. I just want somebody to be like, hey, you know, you're struggling with this, 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 and this. To get these numbers up, we need to do this. But they literally send you the document, and it gives a bunch of recommendations. Well, everybody can give recommendations. Like, I want to know. And so I got thinking about that with finances. It is important to know what is going on with your money. It is important to know what is happening in your life financially. It's our responsibility. Same with our health, same with our finances, same with our relationships, same with everything that we do in our life. It is important to know and to understand those things, but maybe you don't love to do it. And that's where services come in. And that's where I kind of had a mental shift this morning of like, okay, maybe, you know, because I don't enjoy studying the medical. I don't enjoy studying why I should take these vitamins and these supplements and what it'll do for my body and minerals. And I just don't get that into it. I wish somebody would just be like, hey, if you do this, this, and this, you're going to live to 110 years old. All right, freak, let's do it. Cool. But this whole guessing game of, is it right? Is it wrong? What, where, when, why, how, like, it drives me crazy. And so I tend to like not do stuff very often because of it, especially with medical stuff. I suck at taking pills. You guys, I suck at it. I've tried the pre-pack ones. I've tried getting the little divider thing where you take Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. I've tried leaving some here at my office, having some at home. If I forget at home, I take it at the office. But I forget at home and I forget at the office, and then I forget at home again when I go home for the end of the day. I'm like, gosh, dang, I suck at taking pills. But I know it's important. Your financial strategy is the same way. And I'm sitting here saying, if you don't enjoy those things, it is important to surround yourself with people that do. And don't take just one opinion. Don't just take one thought. You know, like if there's anything you've listened to on my show here between my podcast and my YouTube channel and videos that I've seen, I hope you take all of them with a grain of salt. I'm a huge believer in whole life insurance. I like it. I love what it can do for me and my family. That doesn't mean it's perfect for you. I actually had an interesting thing yesterday. A gentleman came in my office. His daughter there's another business right here next to us. She was at an appointment there. He popped in. He's like, what do you guys do? And ended up having a 30-minute conversation around life insurance, and actually printed some quotes and things out for him because he's like, oh, I don't have very good stuff on my wife or anything. Well, we got talking, and he's like, hey, I had some agent call me a couple years ago and kind of explained the policy. And I was like, I think that's a whole life policy. So I built an illustration really quick and showed him. And he's like, yeah, that's what it was. Explain it to me. So I printed it out. We went through the numbers, and he compared it with his 401k. And by the end of it, he said, oh, so this isn't a good investment. Like, this doesn't make sense at all. And I was kind of like, that's interesting. And I said, I want to know from your perspective why you say that, because I sit here on the other side of the table and I think the opposite. I want to know your perspective as to why. And he pulled out his 401k numbers on his app that he logged into, and he compared it from today to today. And he in his situation, I was like, yeah, you're probably going to have more access to money, leaving the money where it is. But I did something interesting. I actually went into the illustration and reversed it 20 years, made him 20 years younger, and then did the same numbers. And it beat his current investment. The amount of cash in the whole life policy beat his investment currently by multiple six figures. Like it was much higher. And he was like, that's interesting. I share that because with me and medical knowledge, I don't care I have zero interest to sit there and read a book about medical stuff. My wife likes that kind of stuff. She studies that kind of stuff all the time, and she enjoys that kind of stuff. So I actually gave the papers to her when I got the stuff done. I was like, explain this to me. This is freaking frustrating. Like, I paid him a pretty good amount of money. Why can't I just have a 45-minute appointment where they tell it to me? So she went through it, and she's like, oh, look at this and look at this. And I was like, okay, cool. I find that important. And I had a mental shift this morning. It is important for you to know your income. It is important to know your expenses. It is important for you to know where your money is going and what it is doing. It is important for you to create your own plan. But maybe it's important for you to have somebody that does it and helps you with it at the same time. If you would have asked me this a week ago, you guys, I would have said, we are idiots for not knowing what is going on. But then I was like, I'm an idiot. That's a tough word. Excuse me. I apologize. I'm a ding dong. Whatever. For not understanding my medical information at a high level. But then I was like, I'm not going to sit there for hours and study that crap. I don't want to. And then as I was driving, I was like, wait a minute. What about the people that have zero interest in studying money? Studying the market, studying and reading books about what's really going on financially? Then maybe it's important that they have somebody that does enjoy those things. They wake up excited doing their job, studying the finances, studying the market, learning about what is money and how does money work. Okay, I literally just wrote it on my note thing. I said medical knowledge and an arrow to financial knowledge. It is important that we have professionals in our lives that give us advice that has our best interest in mind. Now, I'm going to play off of that. I have been an insurance agent since March of 2017 is when I passed my test. And from that time, I have learned about Medicare. I've learned about health insurance. I've learned about 401ks and IRAs. I've learned about term life, index universal life, whole life insurance, final expense, trust, annuities, IRAs, Roth IRAs, mutual funds, crypto. In that almost 9 years, there's been so many things that I've come across. And I have helped thousands of people with their insurance needs. And I still today question every time that I do. I'm serious with you right now. I question, is this the right health insurance plan? What if something freaking happens and they all of a sudden get $10,000 in medical bills? I feel like it's my fault. Is this the right investment? Is this the right place to put money? Should they buy a whole life? Or would they be better off with term? Should they do a mutual fund or should they do a whole life insurance policy? Or should they say to hell with all of it and just self-insure the rest of their life? You guys, I question those things all the time. I had this conversation with a friend on the way to the office. Then I get to the office and I had a meeting with a friend of mine that moved from Wyoming to Ohio back in 2022. And he had a financial services business as well. And he relaunched his business, has gotten things going there in Ohio, and we reconnected this morning. I hadn't heard from him for a long time, and he called me this last week, and he's like, hey, I've got things put back together. I'd like to reconnect and tell you what I'm doing. He's doing the same thing. And it was awesome to reconnect. And we got going down the lines of a conversation. I'm just going to share that conversation with you. I shared with him one of the things that I get frustrated about, and often why I question even what I do professionally every single day. Is this right? When I run into a situation where, let's say somebody has a retirement account and they're in their later years of life going into retirement. You guys, there are so many financial tools. Every freaking year I learn of new investments or products or things, and I'm like, holy crap. There are hundreds and thousands of things available. How do we make sense of all of this? And in all of the conversations that I have all the time, I'm like, man, it just feels like everything is around, which is a good thing, but it's around like how much money can be made. As an advisor, as a financial professional, as a investment person, as an insurance salesperson, as all of those things. And that's why I often question, like, gal, is the product, is the services I'm offering in my insurance agency, are they the best thing for the client? Are they truly helping them and benefiting them? And so as I was having this conversation, I shared with him, I was like, man, one thing that really, really frustrates me about this industry, because him and I are both in the same industry, is there are a lot of professionals out there, they only share their thing. You know, if somebody is, let's say, a manager of like 401ks and Roth IRAs and IRAs and, you know, like their financial advisor, and they only share investing in the market. Well, what about fixed index annuities that give guarantees and protections and guaranteed income and all these things? And I told him, I said, man, one thing that frustrates me is like these professionals out there, all of us, I mean, we only know what we know, right? But they're contracted with all these different things, but they only share these options. And I'm like, is that out of the benefit only of how much money they can make? What their commission is going to be and what they can profit from. They'll be like, hey, I'm doing a good job for this client. I'm going to make sure they never run out of money. But is it the best thing? Are we honestly doing the best thing for our neighbors, our friends, our community, we the people, the United States of America, all of it? Like, are we doing the right thing? And this is where I get hung up often. I get hung up often on this because I'm like, is this right? And I question it. Like I've helped thousands of people. I've done hundreds of thousands of applications for Medicare, and I still am like, God, they could have picked this plan. They could have picked this plan. They picked this one. Was the other one better, or is this one better? I don't know. And then I have some people that complain about the one and complain about the other. And I'm like, I don't freaking know what one is right, because people complain about this one and people complain about this one. They're the only two options. And people complain about both of them. There's pros and cons on this one, and there's pros and cons on this one. I share all of this with you because it is important for us to think for ourselves. But it is also important for us to get advisors and people with knowledge and specialties and expertise to bounce ideas off of, to learn from, to gain understanding from. Because at the end of the day, I mean, does it all really matter? We get so hung up on saving money, investing money, doing this right. Is that a good investment? Is that a bad investment? Did I do this right? Did I do that right? Or is this wrong? Or is that wrong? Or could I have gotten an 8% rate of return here instead of a 6% that I got here? But what if? And I've literally been thinking here lately, like, does it even freaking matter? What is the truth? What is right and what is wrong? Because at the end of the day, I'm gonna die one day. We all are. And all of these little things that we get hung up on and that we do and we stress about and we worry about doesn't even matter. In the whole scheme of things, does it even matter? Because the other thought is, I've been starting to think a little bit more lately of like, are we overcomplicating everything? Because we have an insurance policy for our home, for our phone, for our car, for our life, for our this, for our if this happens, or maybe this, or maybe this, or maybe this, or maybe this. I mean, we have so many things, so many products, so many services, all of these things. And I'm like, man, 100 years ago, none of this crap existed. Like there was life insurance. I don't even think health insurance existed 100 years ago. Did people insure their cars and their homes and stuff like that? I don't know. But I literally look at it. We got into another conversation about another insurance policy with this gentleman that was talking back in Ohio this morning. And he was talking about something that he does a lot for people. And I'm like, I've just never understood that policy. And I didn't really share this because I'm like, if we had our finances in order, like from the top down, and the worst case scenario happened, do we really need all of this other insurance policy that he was talking about? Because it's like everything's in order, everything's taken care of. But new products have been developed because the lack of accountability, the lack of discipline, the lack of being in like completely internal in the sense of I'm taking care of my stuff. And I mean, think of GoFundMe. Why did that come about? Like that app and product and service? Oh, because the majority of people don't have their stuff together. There's less life insurance in the United States today than there was 50 years ago. Most people do not have life insurance. Most people do not have a life insurance policy. So then the unthinkable happens and they get in a freak accident, 27 years old, and they pass away. And then the spouse or the family or whatever's like, oh my gosh, how do we pay this $15,000 funeral bill? Oh, we'll create a GoFundMe account and see if the community will pitch in. Why is it the community's responsibility? Why is it the community's responsibility? The next thing, look at nursing homes, skilled care, all these different places that Medicaid and the state is paying a large majority of those bills because people don't have assets. People don't have income. And so it's being pushed to the taxpayer dollars. It's practically like GoFundMe. Where is our personal accountability to ourselves? It is not my neighbor's responsibilities to pay for my funeral if I pass away very prematurely. It's not my neighbor's responsibilities. It is our own. It is my responsibility as a man, as a husband, as a father, to take care of my wife and my children. That is my responsibility. And I think that should be taken very seriously. If the worst thing that could happen happened, and my wife, my kids passed away prematurely, which is just awful. It is really cool that we have a society and a community that comes together and does the GoFundMe and takes care of all these things. It is cool. And I think it's important. And I think for those that are struggling and that have had unthinkable things happen, and disabilities and premature deaths and sicknesses and you know, houses burning down and accidents. I mean, there's so many things that happen that are just like out of our control. It's God's plan and God's plan only. But I have literally had people say, "Oh, I don't get life insurance. If something happens to me, the community will do a GoFundMe or something." And I'm like, "What?" That's our financial plan. Is we're going to all sit around and hope somebody picks up our bills, pays for our funerals, pays for our medical bills. Or if we pass away, well, shoot, the hospital's got to write those off. If I don't get my credit cards paid off and I die, they just write them off. Think about the financial burden that is leaving to your kids, to your grandkids, to your great-grandkids. Everything has to be accounted for. If you go to the doctor and don't pay those medical bills, somebody did. If you pass away and don't have any plan for funeral expenses or anything, somebody's paying for those things. I would love to see a society, a country, where we are self-sufficient. We are independent. I mean, think about it. If every single person took care of their own health insurance, took care of their own medical bills, took care of their own funerals, took care of their own family, took care of their own living, where would we be financially? It'd be a lot different than it is today. You guys, it is crazy how many people depend on Medicaid and Social Security and all these government subsidized programs. It is mind-blowing. I get it that maybe you don't want to learn and be knowledgeable on those things. But it's important to know. It truly is important to know what is happening, just the slightest. Medical knowledge. It was a wake-up call for me. Like, man, I need to take my dang freaking vitamins. I've had my blood drawn, and it told me what I was lacking. It literally told me what I was lacking. And then I didn't freaking listen. Whose fault is that? If all of a sudden I get diagnosed with something and that diagnosis costs $1,000 a month to take care of, is that the pharmaceutical company's fault? Is that the doctor's fault? It's my fault. I knew what I should have done. Type 2 diabetes. We freaking know what causes it. But we've created a lot of Band-Aids. You can get this prescription and this prescription and this insulin and blah, 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 and carry on. And then we all sit there and complain about the cost of those things. Is that the pharmaceutical company's fault? Think about it. If all of a sudden 50 million people no longer depended on those drugs, the supply and demand's going to drop big time. The demand's going to drop big time. The cost is going to drop. But because we've created no accountability, we can just blame everybody else and everything else. These have just been some heavy thoughts here lately with that conversation of medical knowledge. And then I often question every freaking thing I do every day where I'm like, is any of this really making a difference? Is it helping people? Or are we just selling products and services? Are we just making a buck? What is right? What is truth? You know, one thing that blows my mind every single day is everybody has to have the health insurance plan that covers everything. Everybody complains about the deductible and the max out of pocket and the copays. Nobody takes into consideration what you're paying for those things, the utilization, the demand that it's creating. I'm a huge fan of high deductibles, HSA, low premium options. That's the strat, because I'm like, I can control those things. Like, we've got to start stopping and looking at things from a perspective of who's winning. Am I giving my money to everything else and all those companies are the ones winning and I'm sitting here barely getting by? Could I self-insure a little bit more? Could I be smarter with my money? Could I really look at things from a perspective of like, what really matters and what is right and what doesn't matter? And remove those things. That independence, that self of being observant of self. There's also been something else that's been on my mind. Last night, my wife had a conversation with someone, and it was made apparent my daughter's getting ready to go to preschool. And I've publicly, well, through social media, I've shared that I don't love our educational system. I don't love it. There's a lot missing. Like, why are we not taught financial education? There's so much going on in the educational system. I just don't like it. And I've said that before. Now, I'm not saying that the people, like, there's a lot of really good teachers and a lot of good people and a lot of good programs. Not all of it is corrupt and wrong, but guys, there's some problems. Like, we are in the situation we are in today as a country for a reason. You know, everybody talks about how bad it is. Well, why do we freaking think it's so bad? Let's start questioning things. And so it was said, oh, his daughter won't go because you don't like the educational system. Well, my wife and I have decided, like, man, there's pros and cons to everything, and we're going to get the best out of everything we can. Like, we're planning to send her to school. And I told my wife, I was like, the reason why that boils my blood is because I have had conversations in my local community, communities outside of my local community, people in many different states, and I have never, ever, ever had a conversation with a parent or someone local in the communities or whatever that has said, God, isn't our educational system the best? God, look how amazing our elementaries and our high schools and our middle schools and our colleges, look how amazing they are. Look how much our kids are learning. They are thriving. Look at what is going on. Look at how amazing the people are. Look at how incredible this whole system is. It gets better every year. Has any of you ever been a part of a conversation like this? Because if you have, I would love for you to share it. Because all I have ever heard from people that work in the school system, I've got family that do, people that work with the school system, people that are a part of it, all of us that have kids in it, non-stop complaints about our sporting programs, our educational systems, our test scores, the drama between teachers, the stuff that's being swept under the rug between the leadership and principals and staff and all these things, the drama and the problems there. All I ever hear is the drama, the problems. And so I voice that, and I have. I am not a huge fan of the educational system and how it has ran in the United States, from freaking preschool all the way up to the college level. But I'm the SOB for saying it. Everybody behind closed doors or behind their backs or outside of the school system, not to the leadership, they can complain nonstop. They don't agree with it. They don't like it. They're frustrated by it. Parents are going in constantly to complain. Why is my kids being treated like this? Why is our test scores this low? Why? Nobody goes to the actual source to get it fixed. The next thing is our financial system in the United States of America. Interest rates, credit cards, banks, insurance, car insurance, home insurance, health insurance, life insurance, business insurance, taxes, property taxes, income taxes, Social Security tax, Medicare tax. We all complain nonstop about it. How many people are going to the commissioner meetings? How many people are going to the school board meetings? How many people are going to the city meetings? How many people are going to the state meetings and actually voicing these things? That is, like last night, I got frustrated by it because I'm like, I've never heard positive things about our educational system, our financial system. None of it. I mean, freaking people complain. People in church to your face, you're best friends. Behind closed doors with so-and-so down the road, and then it gets back to you, you're a SOB. The only thing I care about and that I'm interested in, the reason why I voice these things, is because just like what we learn in scouting and whatever programs you guys were a part of, when you go camping, you leave the place better than when you got there. If there's trash, you pick it up. You clean things up. I've been around people that are interesting people. But then when we're out doing something and they're cleaning up trash, and I was like, oh, awesome. That's been drilled into our heads. You leave the place better than when you found it. Ladies and gentlemen, that's all I'm interested with here. Is I want our educational system, our financial system, our healthcare system, our family units on this earth. I want them to be better than when I was a part of them. I want them to be better for my children. I want it to be better for my grandkids and my great-grandkids. Everybody's thinking it. Everybody's frustrated about how the boards are ran and are voting. It's like, well, freak, if you have to have a photo ID to do this and this and this, why don't we have to have a photo ID to vote? Exactly. It's a freaking problem. Let's voice our opinion and correct it within the government. Same thing with everything, our educational system, our financial system, our medical system. Why don't we question all of it? Why don't we create accountability in all of it? There are so many good people in the school system, in the banking system, in the healthcare system, doctors and lawyers. And you guys, we are surrounded by good people. I believe, there are more good people on this earth than there are bad people. I truly believe that. I get the cool opportunity to meet many, many new people every week. New relationships. I mean, there are people that I've only known for a couple of years, helping them with their Medicare or something. I can think of a few couples in Green River, Wyoming. If I was in Green River, Wyoming, and I needed, I was like, oh, crap, I need this. There are a few people that I've helped with Medicare that I could think of. I would go stop at their house. Like if some crazy thing happened and I was like, God, I need something to whatever. I would stop at their house and be like, hey. And they'd be like, Jared, hey. I've built relationships with them. They are good people. There are so many people that I can think of right now. They are good people. I don't believe we wake up in the morning thinking, how can I screw so-and-so? Not in a sexual way. I mean, like in a bad way. Like, how can I make their life worse today than it was yesterday. I don't believe people wake up that way. I believe that we are all Americans. Doesn't freaking matter if you're Republican or Democrat or in the middle or completely on the opposite. I don't think it matters. I think we all wake up and are like, man, how can I live a good day, good life? How can I take care of my family? How can I be happy? How can I have good relationships and friendships? You know, when you're driving down the street and somebody honks you and flips you off, they're really not mad at you. They got crap they're dealing with inside, and that's how it came out. I believe we are good people. I believe our educational system was set up to make us better. I believe our financial system was set up to make us better. But you want to know what I think the problem is? We are too scared to speak the truth. You guys should hang out with my wife for a little bit. Because you know when you're trying to be nice and she's over there doing dishes and I'm like, oh, I feel like I should help. And you go over and like, hey, do you want me to do those? Just offering it to be nice, but you really don't want to do it. Don't ever offer with my wife. She is so honest and literal to the point that she will literally, the water's still running and she'll walk away and grab the towel and dry her hands. And she'll be like, yeah, that'd be great. And I'm like, damn it. Be careful what you offer. One thing that I appreciate about my marriage is if my wife puts on a pair of clothes and the combination doesn't work, maybe she took this top with these pants and these shoes and da-da-da, and is like, hey, what do you think about this? And I'm like, I don't think it works. She'll be like, oh, okay. And turn around and switch something out. She doesn't get offended. I freaking love it. Same thing. She'll honestly tell me, that don't work, Jared. It don't work. The problem is we are so scared to offend each other. We are so scared for judgment. We are so scared of letting people down or all of the other baggage that comes with it. What happened to our honesty? You see, our educational system, like I said, I don't know. I can't think of one person that is like, our educational system is perfect. It is exactly what our children need. I can't think of one person. And if you're out there, freaking correct me, because I may be wrong. But in the conversations that I've had and that I've been a part of, I can't think of one person that has ever said it is perfect. So why don't we correct them? Why don't we start figuring out what is the problem? Why don't we start voicing our opinion? You know, like we love to complain about the president of the United States and we can't wait for the next term. Oh boy, we got to vote that next president in because it's going to fix all of our problems. Does it though? We the people. This is the United States of America, established by the people, for the people. I voice those things about the educational system, about the financial system, about the medical system. Because I want them to improve. And the first step to correcting any problem is to first recognize that you have one. That's the first step. So instead of just sweeping it under the rug, like our educational system does, like our churching system does, the financial system, why don't we start voicing these opinions? Because even though I don't love the financial or our educational system, I believe there's a lot of good people that work in the elementary and the middle school and the high school in my local community. There's a lot of really good people. A lot of really good people. There's sour apples all over the place. And I've even heard teachers complain about what it is that they have to teach, complain about how much it's changed, complain about their demand, complain about a number of things. So what are we doing? Are we literally just going to continue down the same road? Are we more worried about not offending each other and not improving? Like, are we really more worried about those things than making it better than when we were there? Leave it better than you found it. I love that saying. It was drilled into my head. Anytime I go to like a camping site or somewhere in the mountains or whatever, and we hang out for a minute, I'll literally, like, I remember bear hunting. I was with two of my friends, and we pack up our bags and put the fire out, and we literally all looked around like, hey, we didn't leave anything. There's no trash. There's no dirt. Like, it was like, hey, we don't want anybody to even freaking know we were here. Not for the sake of being secretive, but for the sake of, this is a beautiful land. These are beautiful mountains. These are God's creations. Let's leave it as good or better than what we found it. Don't we want that for our children? Don't we want that for our educational system? Don't we want that for our financial and our medical and our politics and our cities and our states and our county? Don't we want that? Or am I freaking, like, did I get off in La La Land? Like, I don't understand where people complain about, like, if you express your opinion of, like, hey, I don't agree with the way things are being ran in these systems. And then you're the SOB. It's like, well, hey, I just talked to like 20 other people that said the same thing. Oh, they're willing to talk about it behind their backs. They're willing to talk about it, about those teachers, but they won't say it to their face. They won't say it to the educational system. They won't express it to the actual source of where it is. But we can complain about it all day long. We can talk behind people's backs. We can express drama. What are we doing? Because I'm starting to question, is America better today than it was 50 years ago? Is it? We have better technology. We have better resources. We have better utilities. We have better. But our people are struggling more than ever. Our own freaking citizens are financially, mentally, socially, physically, medically struggling more than we ever have. But I don't get it, ladies and gentlemen. I share these things because I'm not here to put anyone down or anything down. I'm after truth. I'm after honesty. I'm after improvement. Because I believe every one of you, every single one of you is a child of God. And you and I and them and all of us were put here on the earth for a specific reason. And that we all have a purpose and a reason. And I want to fulfill that. And I want to thrive together. I want to experience joy and happiness in all of those ways together. Ladies and gentlemen, these have been some things that have been on my mind. Heavily on my mind. And I do it because I care. And I want us to get better. And I want my daughter to thrive. I want my son to thrive. I want my wife to thrive. I want my daughter's friends to thrive. I want them to get everything out of education and all of these things. I want them to get the most and the best they possibly can. Now, we're going to have opposition in all things. I understand that. It's not always going to be perfect. There's going to be bullies, and there's going to be this and this and this. But why are we not questioning? Why are we not improving and making better? You guys, I hope you have the best day ever. I hope you live in joy and happiness. I hope you thrive. I hope you have the relationships you dream of, make the amount of money you dream of, experience life the way you dream. I hope it is incredible for you every single day. Thank you for listening. Thank you for watching. I'd love your thoughts. I'd love your opinions. I'd love your honesty. If you think I'm a freaking idiot, I hope you share it, because there is something I can learn from everything. Be the master of your life. Have a great day.